Into a state. The beginning is the end. The end is only the beginning.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Quote the Raven Show with my wonderful brother from another mother, Shon Gunderson.
Hi, how are you doing?
So, there's only one thing I forgot to do, but that's okay because, you know, in Quote the Raven Show, if something don't go wrong.
Never. Well, let's get all our, what do you call it? When they have the little fast guy talking at the beginning of every, or at the end of every message.
Well, you're not a fast guy talking.
No, I'm not. Or the disclaimers, that's what it is, disclaimers.
Are we disclaiming?
Mm-hmm.
What are we disclaiming?
Please do not try anything we do here at home, folks. Do not take any of our suggestions. Do not listen to any of our opinions.
Always listen and take my suggestions.
Anyway.
Well, as you can tell, we're a little mixed up, and there's a reason. We wanted to do something a little fun today. Obviously, we do music and stuff like that, but we're also horror lovers. So I call it horror. Okay,
there is no horror.
It's like George Washington, or
there's plenty of horror.
Gonna go wash my clothes, you know.
Wash.
Hey,
folks.
Anyways, so
should have a word of the day.
Idiocracy.
So, horror lovers. Anyway, top 10.
Yes. Wanted to do some top 10. Ooh, you know what? We should get a little ambience in here. Shon, I want you you tell me, what is your top 10 spooky horror movies? And you start with top 10 with one.
Oh, from number 10 to number 1.
Yes.
From number 10 would be Cat People, which is a very old movie, and it was a remake.
Wow.
In the 80s, I believe. Don't quote me on this one. I don't know this one totally. It's on my very, very last on my list. So, it starred a Russian actress, which I was really, young, and well, she was one of my favorite girls for quite a while.
What was her name? Do you remember?
I can remember Natasha.
Natasha
Kinski, maybe.
Ah.
Maybe. We'll look this one up. And I will do it. If it was wrong, I'll mention it.
Okay.
Okay. So from that,
yes,
to number 9 would have to be Return of the Night of the Living Dead.
Ah.
Which was a remake of the remake, or not a remake, but it was a second one to the remake they made.
So wait, which was it? The one that had
all the kids waiting for their friend to get off work,
and they worked in the two morgues worked in the cemetery.
They worked the morgue was right next to the cemetery, which was just right next to the
the
place
girl,
where they
the girl
kept
with the
all
short
the medical
orange hair.
Yep. That was
I love that movie. Actually, that's one of mine too, but I forgot to put Return of the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I forgot that's what it's called.
I think it's called The Return, or no, it's Return of the Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah. See, I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 8
Wait,
happens
to be spooky.
Number 8. Well, can you turn the lights off?
You see?
Okay.
Spooky. We're doing spooky.
Okay. Number 8 happens to star a older rock musician.
Oh!
Called Monster Dog.
Oh, okay.
Happens to.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yes, it stars Alice Cooper as a rock star returning to his hometown, and returns to find out about his family's curse.
That's cool.
It was very, hair raising at a younger age.
Oh! It got dark.
Okay. Number 7 we're
Yes.
at now. Also happens to star one of my favorite rock musicians, David Bowie.
Love David
It's a
Bowie.
very not well-known movie. But it's called The Hunger. It was a vampire movie where the vampires were a little bit different than the normal type. This was kind of a weird take on the whole vampire element. They were more kind of almost like the storyline was almost like a Black Widow,
Yeah.
if you will,
Yeah.
where the main chick, she never grew old, but all her, vampirings underneath her, they all aged slower, of course. They would live like 500 to 800 years, but eventually they would start aging and decaying, but they would not die. So she kind of has a weird way of remembering all her lovers, whether they be male or female.
Interesting.
Again. All right, now we're at number 5.
Number 5.
Or no, we're at number 6. I can't
6.
read in the dark. I think with this cat vision I could. Number 6, Hellraiser.
Love that movie.
The original. You won't find. There's going to be one in here that I'll mention. 2 actually. I'll mention sequels, but not really very good with sequels. I never liked them, because they would never bring what the first one brought.
Yeah.
So sequels with me.
I liked all of
Hellraiser.
them,
There's a few
I
of them.
I like.
There's 9 of them, I believe. 9 Hellraisers.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we have the whole complete box set, and some of them aren't worth the DVD they're printed on.
Yeah.
No, it should become a coaster for our desk.
That's
terrible. Okay, and then number 5, one of the first. I think it wasn't the first, but I think it was one of the first horror movies I saw. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Again, another one that has sequels and remakes.
It does.
But, some of them, there's, parts of the remake I don't really quite mind. There were some good takes on how the family became the family.
Right.
On some of the remake. But,
right.
It still didn't have what it didn't bring to me. Maybe it was because the original was the one I saw first. Maybe that's it. All right. At number 4, probably within the top 3 or 4 I've actually saw too. A lot of these are in the order of almost how I saw them. Phantasm.
Ooh, I remember that one. That was
and
good.
Also where I found my love for my very first and really only monster car I like.
Oh, yeah.
The Cuda. 69 Cuda with the Hemi engine.
That was pretty kick-ass.
That was badass. If you had to be stuck in a horror movie to have the vehicle, it's kind of a close one in between, the Winchesters. They got theirs. I can't remember what theirs is, but I would definitely rather have the Cuda from Phantasm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and at number 3, here's where I will bring in, a first and second I did like, even though they didn't jive together, was the Evil Dead 1 and 2.
I love those movies.
I know they have again another one that has been remade.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind some of the parts. They switched kind of some of it.
Do you know some of his quotes?
I know all of its quotes.
Do you? Show me some quotes.
This is my boomstick! Anyway.
Shop smart.
That's smart. All right. The king, baby. In at number 2, one of my faves, and this always has been, again, this was probably the second horror movie I ever saw, was An American Werewolf in London.
I love that movie. I totally forgot about that.
From the music to the storyline to how he was hallucinating some parts of it. He didn't know what was real, what wasn't. One of the best transformations, still to this date, I believe.
I agree.
As far as the transformation scene they had, they didn't do as much as they could. Budget, hey, and you got to think, this was way before any kind of CGI, any of that. crap
Right.
was going on.
Right.
Still to this day, one of the best transformations.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't show the final version much. You just got little quick snippets,
Mhm.
and that's fine. But I love to see the monster.
Yeah.
I love to see the monster.
Yeah.
Okay, and then number one, the first horror movie I ever saw as a kid was the original The Howling. Again, another
Ooh,
werewolf
yeah.
movie. That's probably why I like,
Werewolf
movies, werewolves, changeling kind of things. The very first one was the very first horror movie I snuck into. One of the my family was visiting my other family in Denver, Colorado, and I snuck in and
Did you really?
I snuck in to watch the movie underage.
And
I believe I was only 5 or 6.
And they didn't catch you at all.
And nobody knew I was snuck into the den and turned
Wow.
the TV on, cuddled up on the couch, and watched half the movie with my face covered.
I did that with Eddie Murphy Raw. Because my dad was like, I cuss it so much.
All right. So that is my top 10. Thank you very much.
All right. All right. Well, let's go to Raven's pick. And I do have a tie here because I forgot about this one, so I have to put it as a tie with somebody. And I got to figure out where I'm going to do it. Okay. So I got to be dramatically
About it.
So. Better get my glasses on because I can't see otherwise. All right. My top pick, 10 pick for the horror movies are
Starting with
number 10 was Hellraiser. I like Hellraiser too. Hellraiser. Hey, Hellraiser. Yes. And number 9, Evil Dead. Evil Dead. 1 and 2. And I like Army of Darkness. But that's all a series. So
right.
Counts.
It's all
It all counts.
all the same thing.
Number 13. Oh shit.
And don't burn the background.
Yeah, or my hair, or my hat. Wait. Number 8. I'm sorry. Number 8 is 13 Ghosts. That's where I got the 13.
Oh.
I love that movie.
Number 8 is 13.
Yes, 13 Ghosts.
Okay.
Number 7, The Shining. Love The Shining.
Good
Number 6, The Exorcist. I like that movie.
Remake was pretty good.
And number 5 is an old one, but it had a very nice. I can't get this to stay. It's okay.
Because you're breathing on it.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Okay, I think we're done with the dramatic.
Okay, dramatic. We gotta go dramatic for number 1, maybe possibly. So number 5 had a musician in it as well. And I loved the movie and thought it was pretty badass.
Okay.
But it was called Fright Night. And it had Ozzy Osbourne in it.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. I love that movie. It was a vampire movie.
You seem to like the vampires more, it seems.
I do. It's because I am a vampire.
We should have, at the end of this episode, we should have everybody call in or vote their favorite, whether it be werewolf or vampire.
Yeah.
Who do you think would win in a fight?
Yeah. Who do you think would win? Vampire or
the
werewolf? I did that wrong. No.
Werewolf.
Vampire werewolf. Yeah.
Your Russian accent sucks, by the way.
Hey.
Natasha.
Oh, Carl. All right. Number 4. This is where the tie is going to be. No, it's not.
No tie here.
No tie here. Number 4, Amityville Horror.
That was a good one.
I did like that a lot.
Ghosts have never really frightened me much.
It's not really that I'm frightened. I'm more intrigued.
No, that one, some of the ghosts, they were more I would almost say demons.
They were sinister.
If anything,
they were sinister.
It was
sinister.
It wasn't that they were sinister. Ghosts can be sinisters. It's just they actually took possession of some of the people.
Yes.
I don't think.
Well, you have to remember. No.
Was that
because
something a ghost could do, or something a demon?
I don't agree with that because Amityville Horror was built on. This was a story baseline that was From what I
They were
understand,
saying
it was
demons.
it was a truth. No, it was
I
built.
thought.
It was built over a Indian burial grounds,
Okay.
and it was sacred burial grounds. So there, I think, was some kind of
Okay, I was getting my movies mixed up. I'm
yeah. I
sorry.
think it was. I think it was like some kind of like curse. I think it's like a known.
No, I think you're getting your.
No, it
movies
is a
mixed up.
tribal. It is a It is a tribal sacred law.
That wasn't Amityville.
Yes, it was. Oh,
Amityville was the house.
yes, where and it was in the neighborhood.
No, it wasn't that one. No.
Amityville Horror.
That didn't have Caroline and all that in it.
That was that was
No,
what was it then?
it was. Maybe we should make a contest. Who can come up and who knows which movie that was? Who's the first one to come?
I'm pretty sure it was
It wasn't.
Amityville Horror.
It wasn't.
What do you think Amityville Horror was?
Amityville Horror was based on a true story that was about the house that looked like it had eyes.
Yes.
Right.
With the
You're
little girl.
thinking of the one where the little girl Caroline was in. That wasn't Amityville. In Amityville, the dad got possessed by demons.
Okay, so we're gonna leave this up. We're not gonna Google anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty I know that Amityville's about the house.
Mm-hmm. It is about a house, but you're getting which house it was. The other one was a brand new house built on some Indian
Reservation.
Mm-hmm. Those are two different storylines.
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Okay, so we're gonna have to put Poltergeist and Amityville Horror together because you
Okay.
know what? They both are really good movies.
They are.
So I corrected
Mhm.
myself. He helped me because he pointed it out. Okay. Moving on.
Okay. Where are we at? We were at 4.
Number 3.
We are at number 3.
Number 3. I love this movie for a lot of reasons, but I love the movie Ghost Ship.
Oh. That
I
was
love
one
that
I
movie.
couldn't bring myself to go through.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I have not watched that one.
Oh, I love that movie. It's so good.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll have to watch it then.
Yeah.
I guess, maybe.
Yeah, and it even has
Is it?
Mudvayne. I believe it was Mudvayne that did the song, or was it Mudvayne? See, I'm gonna probably get this all messed up too, but it has
Somebody
a
will correct us.
I Stand Alone. I think it's that song.
Mhm.
That's gonna be Godsmack, or maybe it's I don't know, but there's a great song in that. We're just full of preparedness today and facts. Anyway, moving on. Now this is gonna be my tie.
Okay.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2. It's between one that you've already said too.
Mhm.
But Return of the Living
Night of
Dead,
the Living Dead.
whatever. Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that movie too. I really do too. And another one that ties with it is Resident Evil. I love Resident Evil. So
I love the series. It would be in there, but there's a lot more to mention before them. But you know, it is a fave. I put many of them. I have all of the series of it. And
Yeah.
even the 2 or 3 cartoons. I think there's 2 or 3 cartoons they have of it. Or I guess I should say anime.
yeah,
They're in my rotation pretty much all the time.
yeah. And
Which
plus
one
the
out of all
soundtrack-
of them?
Well, I haven't said
Which
one
out of
yet.
all of them
I haven't
was
said
your
one yet.
least?
I haven't said
favorite?
one yet.
Huh?
I haven't said one yet. Are you just saying like out of all of them?
Yes, out of all of them. I have a least favorite.
Least favorite. Let me see. With my handy dandy bless.
It would be the one that was in the desert for me.
Let me see.
That was just took too long to get anywhere, and it just by the end of the story, you just were like, I'm ready for the next movie to go on. You know, I usually skip it if I'm doing a marathon. I believe it was the 4th that was in the desert.
You're good. So
There was Resident 1 and 2, and then the 3rd was like Apocalypse, and then the 4th was in the desert,
yeah,
and then everything else after that was cool, I think.
my least.
I don't like how the series went with the whole weird mouth thing. And I know they did that on the video game. I didn't really care too much for the video games after the first 2 or 3 anyway either.
Yeah.
I can't say that much, but when they went to the monster that had the whole thing going on,
Right.
to me, that's not a zombie. And I know the mutation. They should have gone with some other monsters, though. I think they had some of those cool big things that grew and stuff like that. But
Yeah. Well, there's I think to be said some honorable mentions too, that are out there like It. That was obviously a classic.
There.
You know, and I am
anything with
Clowns from
Price.
what was it? Clowns from Outer Space.
Killer Clowns
from Outer Space.
There's a lot of and I only did 1 or 2 that had humor in it. Was the Evil Dead. So that was kind of
I love that.
Those are keep them in. They are a true horror, but there was more funny.
Yeah.
Because of Bruce Campbell.
Right. And then of course there was Candyman. That was always a classic. I like that one. And then let's see what else was there. Oh, The Ring. It's an honorable mention.
The Ring. Okay, yeah.
That brought on a whole
Then there was the whole
thought process. Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, there was Saw that brought on a whole crazy series.
Yeah, an original idea. It was made by some high school kid or college kids. I believe it was the first one was a college end of term project.
And of course, who would we be without mentioning Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th?
Yes.
Or Halloween.
The Stinkers. I call them. The Stinkers, they were that was the 80s go-to horror. It had the monolithic guy going, while the girls all running, tripping. I love it, she's tripping.
Right. Yeah. Now these movies are based off of actual horror because obviously there's other movies that are in that genre.
Mm-hmm.
They're not
frightening.
They're not like frightening.
Oh, Killers Clowns were.
Well, yeah. Well, some people they would.
Again, you gotta sometimes throw some of that.
Right.
Humor always goes with with the horror movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of great movies out there. But there was one movie I remember when I was a little girl. I was like 7 years old. And it was called The Day After. It was on TV, and it scared the out of me. I was 7 years old, and you know why? It was about World War III. So it was like something that could actually happen, right? So for me being 7 years old, that did scare me. So that was, I think, the worst I've ever been scared in my life, just because I was so young. What is like the one movie that scared you the most?
Would again probably go back to when I first got scared. Would have been somewhere around The Howling and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and probably the Texas Chainsaw Massacre had a little bit more bite, lack of a better term to say, because they weren't supernatural. They were just humans that were messed up in the head, and trust me, there's a lot of them out there. Monsters always look like humans.
Right. Well, you want to hear the number one pick for
What
Raven?
is the number one Raven?
Number one pick. Queen of the Damned.
One of my favorite book series. I really hated what they did with the movies.
Did you really?
Especially the first one. Second one, which wasn't really even the second.
They didn't have a second one.
Well, yes.
Are you thinking of the wrong
The
movie?
Queen of the Damned actually was the third in the series.
Oh, in the series, you mean?
If you wanted to go from first to, in order. I read most of all of them, except for probably the last 20. She's kind of started getting on to a whole kick of following some of the other lesser vampires through the
she did the
vampires
whole
that they
story
had.
Lestat and all
Lestat's
of that.
it was the most important and most.
I do like Interview with the Vampire just because they were hot.
Most interesting of all their lives they had. Some of them vampires were pretty damn If you have a
What was?
lifetime to
Can
do
you
something,
remember?
can you just
Was Stats
not waste
mentor that created him? What was his
Marius?
name? Marius. That's right.
Like I said, he had his own book. Marius's creator had a book. They did the whole, I believe, what was her name? And they mentioned them as people in the book, and you saw the people, you never knew who they really were. And in The Queen of the Damned,
Right.
where there was a lot of the vampires starting to show up. What was her name? Pandora was one of the famous vampires in that book storyline.
Wow. So I have a trivia question.
Uh-oh.
So it's actually a trick question because it's a part of, if anybody believes in it, the Mandela effect. So this is the
horror?
question.
Or is that sci-fi? Just wanting to know.
Both.
Okay.
Is it A, Interview with the Vampire, or B, Interview with a Vampire? What do you think?
I believe in what I think, from what I remember, which, I've done a few things since then. I thought it was the Interview with the Vampire.
I've never heard of that one.
I mean,
Are
I
you-
remember
are
a little red book.
Are you a flat earther?
No. The Interview with the Vampire was what I believe the first book was called.
Wait, say it again.
The Interview with a Vampire.
With a vampire.
The Interview with a Vampire.
With a vampire. The Interview with a Vampire. Well, apparently, see, I've always known it as Interview with a Vampire. But apparently, when you go search it, it's actually Interview with the Vampire. And if you guys don't believe me, go search. But what's weird is there's like residue of it still showing Interview with the Vampire. Okay, I got another trivia question. When Luke Skywalker was out on the ledge and Darth Vader came out and cut off his hand.
Right.
Remember? And he was like yelling at him, and he was like talking to him about whatever the situation might have been. And then Darth Vader says, when he's explaining that he's his father, what does he say?
Luke, I am your father.
Right?
And that's when the whole pansy-ass, you're not my father, starts happening.
So, this is the trivia question.
Okay, here it is.
You say, Luke, I am your father, right? Okay, so is it A, what Shon said, Luke, I am your father, or is it B, no, I am your father?
Both sound like it could be right.
Who was the guy who did the voice? Was it Samuel?
No.
Who was the voice? Can't think of his name. Who was the voice of Darth Vader? Do you remember?
Yeah. James
Earl Jones. That's right. He was even in an interview talking about it, right? He was talking about that part, and he just like went off to the guest that was sitting next to him that we were joking around, and he said, "Luke, I am your father." Now you go online. It was apparently always, no, I am your father. Right? Interesting.
I don't know what to think about that.
Interesting. Do your own research. Anyway, so that was a couple of fun trivia questions for you, going down the rabbit hole of the Mandela effect. But we're both kind of conspiracy theorists, so
yeah.
We believe in all kinds of things. But the word conspiracy.
We'll at least listen.
Yeah, absolutely. But the word conspiracy in its own right was created to distract the public from it. But what's funny, well, not funny, but what's interesting is the fact that most conspiracies that have been put out there have been proven true. So is it really a conspiracy?
So, here's some trivia for you.
Okay.
What do you think was the last, going back to horror creatures, which was the last reported creature? A vampire or a werewolf?
Last reported?
In history.
I would have to say werewolf.
You think?
Yeah, because I just saw a deal the other day that was talking about werewolves, and they were saying that werewolves are real.
Well, I believe it actually, in recorded history anyway,
I recorded. Okay.
one of the last famous ones of reports of, back when the settlers were still coming in, was a series of events. I can't remember whether it was in one of the first colonies anyway. I can tell you that much. But what was her name? Not doing. Oh, Brown. It was her name was something Brown. It was a
Okay.
vampire family.
Oh,
That Mercy Brown. Mercy Brown. That was it. The last recorded in America. I guess I should have said in the trivia
really?
question. The last report of anything like that in history was Mercy Brown, and they dug up the whole family line. They did the whole pulling the hearts out and staking them in the
So they
into the
wouldn't come back,
coffin, back in the
kind of
coffin,
thing.
so they wouldn't come back and all that. Burning the ashes of the heart and feeding it to the remaining members, because the whole family just started. And later on, they found it was consumption.
Oh,
Yep.
wow, that's crazy. So they got accused.
It wasn't as much of a cute. I mean, the family was buying into it. They were just basically. I don't remember the whole. It's been again. I've slept a few nights since.
Kind of like the Salem witch trial.
But it was it was one of like the last things. Now the witches, that was a little bit more later on in history. So witches were still even thought of, which witches were believed to be able to create vampires and werewolves.
Oh, really?
And whatnot.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
That's part of the whole. If you look into the Hammer of the Witch,
Yeah.
it has its own name. That'll be a trivia question if anybody can tell me what that was called.
So it's what was it?
In our English, it would be called the Witch's Hammer.
Oh, okay.
But there was a famous book.
That was created. All right. Well, if you can put it in the comments.
We'll see. See what kind of guests and what kind of listeners you have.
Yes.
See if any of them are.
They're really smart and stuff. So, well, this is probably going to be a shorter video today, just because we did get on really late. But we always have fun when we're together, so it's always a good show. But I definitely wanted to come on and do this with you today. I think we have a lot of fun. We might try to do this every Friday together, just because it's a lot of fun. You guys seem to really enjoy us both being on here together. So look forward to Monday. We'll have another previously aired band come on. I'm going to start pulling over all those interviews onto the YouTube channel so you guys can see them. And I'll be doing some corrections with some of these videos because obviously, we just started back in November. And there was a lot of changes with a lot of different things. So we'll get them all worked out. We'll get them all fixed.
So the changes in me, you would say?
It's one of our songs.
Okay.
If you didn't know, just check it out. It's great. But yes, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this channel so you get all the notifications and updates of when shows will go live or air. We'll probably be doing a lot of shows on the pre-records for a little while, just so I can get them all up. And plus, there's a lot of things going on here in the next month that we got to kind of get through. Me and Shon are going to be writing some stuff, some music and stuff, which will be a lot of fun. So, but otherwise, yeah, we've got a new studio coming as well.
Yes.
Here pretty soon.
New backdrops and maybe even some new little segments.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, and we're learning how to do all kinds of fun stuff. So, yeah, just stay tuned.
May have
for
Raven's
all the
secret garden.
Upgrades.
Secret.
Are we planting corn? Oh wait, that's Secret Window.
Yeah.
That's another good one too. It's not really a scary movie, but it's more of a thriller, I guess. Is that what you call it? Thriller?
I don't know.
You've never seen Secret Window?
No.
It's got Johnny Depp.
Oh.
So underrated.
I
So underrated as an actor.
Probably was done during his From Hell era,
I think right after.
which
I
is
think
one of the worst movies he ever
I like From Hell.
made. I hated it.
I did.
I
Or
hated it.
Stigmata.
You got through the whole movie and it was like, man.
Ooh, what's that other one? That
Now Stigmata, I liked that one.
yeah, that was good. I was trying to think of that one where you can see like the whole picture of the whole.
What?
What was that called?
No, The Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense.
Yes.
Well, I have 7.
Seventh Sign. Seventh Son of a Seventh
Ooh,
Son.
Seventh Sign. That was one too. Then there was the Circle.
We just watched the what was it? The Witch Hunter, I believe was the name of it.
Hmm.
Movie with can't remember the
Have you
name of
seen?
the characters in it, but
Have you seen some of the newer ones? Like, I hope I say this right. Osculus. And then there was Insidious.
I did like the Insidious.
Annabelle.
Some of those were pretty interesting.
Yeah,
and
because it wasn't
again-
Annabelle. Wait,
no,
Insidious.
I'm
Yeah,
not
that
sure.
Insidious was based off of the 2 couples that actually did that.
Oh, the Amityville Horror
No,
or the
yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
yes.
Yeah, can't think of their names right now.
Oh,
We just can't think of nobody's names right
Nope. See, that's how you know this is not pre-scripted,
now.
people.
Right? We're just going off the flow.
Nah.
But that's cool.
All
But
right.
yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you guys had a
Please
great
leave in the
day.
comments your favorite horror movies.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we'll maybe do a little mention if we didn't get enough of it.
Yeah,
Maybe
if
we'll
you
have
guys
another
thought of
horror
something that
movie
maybe we
fan.
didn't think of or something. Yeah, absolutely. And if you'd like this content of doing like the top 10, we can always do another subject. We could do like the top 10 horror sound scores or music scores or music movies or yeah, right. Or we could even just do musicals and things like that. All kinds of fun stuff.
It'll all be fun.
Yes, it will.
So, for Quote the Raven Show, goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.